Let's move. Take the baseline. Secure the bench.
What is this about? We're about to tip off.
You're not playing tonight. We need to ask you some questions. Phone goes in the bag. Anything else in that locker? This operation is part of an ongoing investigation into illegal sports wagering. Multiple arrests have been made and more are coming.
FBI, on the ground, now!
Yo, what's going on?
Down, hands behind your back!
Cuff him. He's done. Suspect secure. Bag the phone and that cash. We move out in 30.
This is crazy, man.
You had your shot, now you answer to the Bureau.
Let's roll.
You know, it really would be funny if the FBI just interrupted a live basketball game and started making arrests on the court, in the locker room, while people were watching. Hell, while it was even broadcasting on one of these networks. It's the least that this league deserves, especially for all of the BLM and George Floyd nonsense that they were propagandizing on the courts during the broadcast of these games during that time. And when it comes to NBA players, they've always fancied themselves as wannabe rappers and wannabe gangsters. And I'm sure with some of them having working relationships with the mob, they were probably doing it just out of excitement. Finally having an opportunity to actually work with the type of characters that they've been idolizing through movies and television shows. You remember years ago, a lot of rappers used to name themselves after Italian gangsters. Even though we know Italians, specifically within the mob, don't really care for Negroes, they idolize them nonetheless. And so the fact that they are being listed as criminals alongside Italians, I'm sure they're probably proud of that. You know, because in the community, there's no shame when it comes to being a criminal, being a thug. Again, as I've stated before, the NBA players have fancied themselves as thugs, not just, Ja Morant or Allen Iverson, but there's a number of ball players that can be found throwing up gang signs when they make a three-pointer, when they make a clutch shot. Matter of fact, I think the Terry Rozier, or however you say his last name, I think he's one of those guys that is actually gang affiliated and has thrown up gang signs on the court. And so hopefully this expands to more active players, former players, coaches, and staff, because that cesspool of a league, right along with rap music, has done nothing but platform and help idolize gang culture. It was one of the things that I could appreciate when it came to David Stern, when they were really trying to go into, we're a bunch of gangster rappers that play ball. David Stern enlisted the dress code. And I remember Negroes back then complaining about how that was so oppressive. That someone that's part of a league that pays you tens of millions of dollars to play basically a recreation, a game that people do for free all the time, that they demand you to, dress like a professional and not like some thug. But since they want to be thugs, then they deserve to be treated like thugs. And so I hope more arrests come for active and former players and coaches and staff. Again, it's a large part of the reason why I can't even stomach to watch sports ball in general. Just all these ungrateful Negroes who also want to play gangster, but also civil rights activists at the same time. It's quite obnoxious, to say the least. And I saw a clip with Charles Barkley arguing with Kenny Smith about the situation, where Kenny Smith tried to pass it off as, oh, this is a byproduct of an addiction, gambling addiction. Because, they're always trying to give criminals nowadays excuses. Addiction, mental illness. But I'm going to take it a step further than what Barkley said. Barkley just said they were dumb. Yes, that's part of it. Most of them go broke after retiring for a reason. But another part of it is, again, I genuinely believe these Negroes caught up with the mob, they were excited about the idea of committing crimes alongside the mob. Because just like many of the rappers, especially like back in the sort of earlier 2000s, 90s, they all aspired to be like the mob. They named their little groups the Commission. Or gangster movies in general, like Scarface, the rapper, coming from Scarface, the movie. He wasn't Italian, but he was played by Pacino. But the point is, these Negroes probably did it out of some type of fandom to say that they work with the mob, and they can sort of showboat with that with their friends or people that they encounter. Yeah, you don't want to mess with me. Yeah, I'm connected. And they probably list the Italian mob families that they quote unquote work with, when in reality they were just a bunch of dumb Negroes getting played. Now, again, I don't expect most of them to really get into any serious trouble. I mean, they can barely punish poor, no-name Negroes that commit violent crimes on a daily basis in the streets. So I don't expect them to punish most of these ball players that get caught up in this. There'll probably be one or two, maybe three sacrificial lambs, lesser known players, but no notable, prominent known player, no matter how guilty he is, or even coach, like Chauncey Billups, for an example, no one notable of significant prominence is really going to get in serious trouble. But, what would make me watch the NBA again is if there was the potential of being able to see the FBI barge in and interrupt games and press conferences, making arrests in the league.